Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Andrea. I tell you what, she has covered it thoroughly. Daily fantasy, every fantasy. Great job. It's great to hear her on the radio. Hey, I was just waiting my turn. Don't worry about it. We'll make it work, right? So this way, at least there's no downtime, right? Here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to give you my number. If you have questions about fantasy, we're going to try this. 919-922-9093. One more time. 919-922-9093. If you have fantasy questions, give me a call. I'm ready. I'm going to unblock my phone. Okay, let's see if I can do that. Usually I block my phone when I'm on here because I don't want anybody calling. But today, I want you to give me a call if you have any questions about trades or just comments you want to make. Hey, I'm ready. Before we do that, though, or while we're waiting on that, let's talk about our standings. It's July the 1st, and it's National Bobby Bonilla Day. Yeah. Do you know why it's National Bobby Bonilla Day? Because on the 1st of July, every year through 2035, okay, now it's 2019, so that means there are 16 more payments coming to Bobby Bonilla from the Mets over some legal malfunction that occurred in around 2005. They were owed $5 million. He was owed $5 million. He sues the Mets. He gets this protracted settlement. And now on July the 1st of every year through 2035, the Mets pay Bobby Bonilla $1.119 million. Yeah, way to go, Bobby Bonilla. I mean, I got to think, pull it back this year. There's no better salary in Major League Baseball than what the Mets are paying Bobby Bonilla, because he's not playing. I don't even know the last time he did play, okay? But anyway, it's National Bobby Bonilla Day, July 1, 2019. Go out, put on a Mets cap, enjoy the misery, right? Lot of players I want to go through, but before we do that, or as we do that, I want to go through the standings. Here it is, July the 1st. And I want to talk about players on the teams who have made a fantasy and a reality impact. Hey, Andrea, no problems. Seriously, I was enjoying your show. I was taking down notes, so now I got to go look at players that I might want to add to my fantasy teams, right? Okay, so we look at the American League East on July the 1st, and here we are with the New York Yankees. We're 82 games in. The Yankees are 54-28. They've won 5 in a row. Their run differential is 105. They've just scored 30 runs in the last 2 games against the Red Sox over in England. And they lead Tampa Bay by 7 games. The Red Sox, after 84 games, are 11 games out. I saw something over the weekend. The Red Sox lost their 40th game this year on June 30th. It was the middle of August before they lost their 40th game last year. So the Red Sox have got some plowing to do to catch up in this American League East race. We'll see if they can do it, but they are 11 games out behind the Yankees. So I think if you're Boston, you're probably looking at a wild card situation. And I read this morning that the Red Sox ownership has said they are not going to go out and spend a lot of money near the trade deadline to take on salary. So what that tells me is if they're not going to go spend money, they're going to be content with the team that they have. And frankly, their bullpen is a mess. The Boston Red Sox bullpen is in shambles. And Boston, they are trailing the wild card. And I haven't even talked about the wild card race yet, but I can certainly do that. But they are not leading the wild card. If the season ended today, they finish behind both Texas and Oakland and Cleveland for the second wild card. Here they are. Tampa Bay leads the second wild card by 2 games over Texas. Cleveland is a half a game out of the second wild card. Oakland a half a game out of the second wild card. Boston 2 games out of the second wild card. So right now Boston would have 4 teams to jump over to secure that second wild card. And, frankly, are you confident that they can do it? Now, for the Yankees, I want to talk about Yankees and Rays players that have put these two teams, both leading the American League East and leading the American League Wild Card, respectively, at this point in the season. And has there been a bigger player for the Yankees this year than DJ LeMahieu? DJ LeMahieu, who can play all over the field, that's great. But let me tell you what DJ LeMahieu has done over his last 10 games. His last 10 games since June 18th, 24 for 43. That's a .558 batting average for DJ LeMahieu. That reason there, a big reason why the Yankees sit atop the American League East. Now, certainly, Gary Sanchez has hit over 20 homers, one of the American League leaders in home runs. Didi Gregorius, coming off the IL, has played well. Aaron Judge got it going this weekend against Boston. The Yankees are still without key players. Stanton probably not back till August. Andujar out for the year. The pitching staff a little questionable, but the bullpen is solid. Ottavina came in yesterday, looked great. Britton, I'm not totally confident in him, but he seems to get the job done. Chapman, of course, at the back end. The Yankees look like it's their division to lose. And I just don't see Tampa, absent some major move, doing it. Now, over the weekend, let's talk about Tampa for a moment. Over the weekend, we saw Blake. Well, we did see Blake Snell. Let's talk about Blake Snell, and then we'll talk about Brendan McKay. And then I want to talk about one of their hitters who's been quietly putting together a good run of late. Blake Snell, who has been the king of bad the last few outings. He really has. He's just stunk it up. But yesterday he looked more like Blake Snell. He went 6 innings and struck out 12. And a resurgence from Blake Snell will be critical for the Rays to hang on to that number 1 wild card slot. And he sure looked the part yesterday of the Cy Young Award winner that he was last year, didn't he? Way to go, Blake Snell. Great job yesterday pitching for Tampa as they beat Texas 6-2. Okay, and now they return home. They were home. They still remain at home. They play the Orioles. Gotta like that. Another pitcher, you saw Brendan McKay take a perfect game into the 6th inning. Saturday, striking out 3, walked no one, gave up a couple of hits. McKay looks like the deal. So when you put a McKay with a Snell, with a Charlie Morton, with Alvarado coming back to the bullpen after dealing with some personal issues, don't you just think that Tampa, they have added from within? They've not gone externally, they've gone internally, and they are going to be a wild card contender. I think they're the wild card favorite, but for the Yankees playing lights out baseball, and if the Yankees cool off, the Rays could certainly challenge in the American League East. The deal with Severino, good question, Jack. The deal with Severino is simply this. He's not ready. And every time he takes one step forward, it seems like he takes 2 steps back. He threw off the mound, and no word from that. From what I'm reading, Jack, if Severino's back by the end of August, that would be what I think the Yankees are hoping for. This is what I'm reading this morning and reading last night. They're going to be extra careful with Severino. For fantasy purposes, he is a fantasy bust for 2019 because he's just not been given the opportunity because of health reasons. And if you're not on the field, if you're not on the lineup, how can you help in fantasy? And I don't know if anybody out there in your leagues, if you're a Severino owner and you've been holding him and you want to trade him, because you can just rest assured this, if he does come back in late August, you're talking about 4 weeks left in the fantasy season. Do you really think the Yankees are going to say go out there and throw 9 innings? Or are the Yankees going to be protective of those innings? Well, that's easy. They're going to be protective of Severino. They would love to have him ready for the playoffs. I think if you're going to own Severino, the last 2 weeks of the year probably are the optimal. But even then, I don't see him throwing the 9 inning, the 8 innings. They're going to be protective of him all year, even if he does come back. Getting back to the Rays for just a moment, and I'm looking at I've got like 3 screens going here, so I'm looking in the chat room. If you want to call 919-922-9093, I'll put that up, and you can call in. I'd love to hear from you, anybody. And I'm glad to see you guys in the chat room this morning. We got several people. Let's see. I got live chat. Let's press the button and say good morning to everyone. Lou, Andrea, Beerman, Cam, Jack, Lenny, good morning. Phil, Chaplin, Chappie, you got to call in. You know that. Whoever guest major is, boy, I'd love for you to register and become part of this. Andrea did a super job starting at 9 o'clock. The podcasters, excluding Present Company, they do a great job on this network. After me today, you've got the one, the only, Phil Chaplin. Good morning, Chappie.
Arnie and Chappie in the morning. You gotta love it, right?
I mean, you can't do any better than that, I don't think. Do you? Tell me about it. What's going on?
Nothing, man. I'm just sitting here in office by myself. Thought I'd take the opportunity to call in and see, your thoughts. Don't get to do it in the morning very often, so I thought I'd give you a call.
Love it. You're breaking up just a little, but I think you're coming in. I think you're closing the door so you can talk a little louder, so that'll be great.
Yeah.
I got a lot of people to talk about, but since you're on the phone, I'll ask you a question first. How about that? How about your boy Dylan Cease coming up this week?
Well, it's funny. I went back and forth on him because, I really I'm playing catch-up in a points league. And I couldn't figure out whether I wanted to pick him up because he has a bloated ERA. And, the White Sox organization seems to think that he's found it, whatever it is. His numbers in the minors certainly don't speak to that, right? But the talent is kind of undeniable. So I picked him up. Why the heck not? And we'll see what happens. I think you're going to see peripheral numbers. You're going to see a lot of strikeouts. You're going to see maybe a higher ERA. But I think that when he's on, he's going to be really on. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's a crapshoot with these young pitchers. He's certainly not going to be a Brandon McKay.
No, I mean, McKay pitched Saturday. He looked like Cy Young. Went into the 6th with that perfect game. If you and I have talked about him, we've added him in leagues way before Saturday, and he did not disappoint against the Texas Rangers Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely, and I look for more of that to continue, right? I mean, I think that, his walk to strikeout rate in the minors kind of speaks to itself. He's got control of man. He's one of these, I feel, these foolproof rookies that you really have to make a cornerstone of your team.
Well, while I got you on the phone, and I'll go ahead and use this as my part of my soon-to-be call-up section, Kyle Tucker hit another home run yesterday, his 24th of the year at Round Rock. He's hitting now 274, and he had a horrendous start to the season. He drove in 4 yesterday. Instead of asking, when do you think, Chappie, they may call him up, could you see him as a major trade piece for a pitcher who looks like he's found himself in the last 2 outings, Mr. Madison Bumgarner in San Francisco?
Yeah, it's funny. Great minds think alike, right? I was actually just going to say, I think the 3 for trading. I wasn't going to go so far as to say that it was Madison Bumgarner. But I think that, it's kind of a fine line you're walking with Kyle Tucker, right? He came up last year. He wasn't successful. I think coming up prematurely and failing again is catastrophic for both the Astros and for him, right? So he comes up, he doesn't do well, it kind of diminishes his prospect luster. So I think they're really trying to play cautious with that and see if they can get, some trade capital out of it, right? Because